everyone, I'm Deb and this is DB Designs and Sewing Australia. Welcome to part 4 of the Ginger Jeans Sew Along. I'm making the low-rise jeans in a stovepipe leg. I've created this sew along as the Sewists of Oz are running a challenge, Sew Autumn Denim 2024. So for the months of April and May, sew something in denim, pop it onto Instagram. I will add the information on the screen and in the description. So now let's get on with it. When we left part 3, all we had to do was sew the inseam, which I've done, and then sew the outer leg seam in a very, very big stitch so that we can try them on. So now let's try them on. Okay, so now I've popped the jeans on. They're actually a pretty good fit. Need to come in a little bit on the side leg. Now what you need to know about jeans when you're making them in is if I don't make this waist much tighter, remember this is where it's going to go up to when it's got the waistband on it. If I don't make this was a stupid shirt to wear, wasn't it? If I don't make this top part tighter, remember that's going to, when it's attached to the waistband, it will be like that. Now, if I don't make this tighter, my waistband is going to hang away from my waist. And from making jeans, I know that this top part here actually needs to be quite firm. So I think I will take that in 1 centimetre on each side. So I'm just going to run them in down a little bit further in on those legs. But I'm really happy with the inside legs. So I'm going to take them off and finish off the inside leg and show you about the top stitching. Okay, so now we've got the inner leg overlocked or neatened, however you're going to neaten your jeans, and we're going to press this towards the front of the jeans. So this is our front. First of all, I'm going to press it from the wrong side to press it up. And then I'll press it from the right side to make sure it's got no little gaps or spaces or little puckery tucks in it. So now I'm just pressing the inner leg seam with the seam allowance towards the front of the jeans so that we can top stitch. So it says to do your top stitching 3 mil from your seam line, or 1/8 of an inch. But the sewing machine that I have, that I do my top stitching on, does not actually have, I don't think it's got a guide on it. Because you're doing top stitching on a seam that exists already, like this one, you can't really measure from the outside edge or anything like that. So you need to be, with your foot, with your needle placement, you need to decide how far away you're going to make that top stitching. I'm just going to top stitch. Okay, so there is the inside leg top stitching done, and it is really that close to the seam, and it's just one row. I forgot to say that. It's just one row. If you look on any of your ready-to-wears, you'll see that it's usually just one row on that inside leg. So now I'm going to join the side seams. Now I'm just going to join the side seams with a normal stitch. I have actually marked where I wanted to take that extra in. So when I took them off, I marked that, but we're not finishing this off yet. We're just sewing this seam, and then we're going to try them on again. Because this is when we're getting the perfect fit to our jeans. Now I am taking them in up to here, which instead of a technically more than 1.5 centimeters, 1.6 centimeter seam allowance, it's going to be a 2.5 centimeter seam allowance. So it's an extra centimeter, and so it goes from 5/8 of an inch to being 1 inch seam allowance. But that's why you're just doing the one pass. You're trying them on again to make sure that's where you want them. Now when I'm taking them in, I'm not going to take them in with that wider seam allowance all the way down to the bottom of the jeans. Once I get probably to about here, which is just above the knee, or just like at the top of your kneecap, I'm going to grade back out to the 1.5 or 1.6 centimeter seam allowance, because I don't want to turn them into skinny leg jeans down the bottom. And the thing you've got to remember with skinny leg jeans is if you decided all of a sudden, I don't want these to be stovepipe, I want them to be skinny, you're going to need to take it off both sides, not just off the outside edge. So now this is the section where I will be changing it back to our normal seam allowance. So I'm just going to sew those up and then get right back to you. Okay, here are the jeans. Need to get further away. Happy with the fit. So now, I don't want to take the, I've got a singlet on. You can see those pockets like I thought you would be able to, but that can be addressed at a later date. You can see it hasn't got the waistband on it, so when it does, it's going to come up to my waist. Got to remember that that will go across there like that. And so now it's time to overlock the outside leg seams, and then I'll show you a bit of top stitching that we do on that. Okay, so all of the side seams are all overlocked, everything's done, and we also ran a row of stay stitch around the top, because when you're going to put the waistband on, this is a stretchy part of the denim, so you don't want to stretch that out because it's going to be joining to your waist, which is most probably smaller than your hips. But first of all, we need to do the top stitching that runs down the side of your jeans. Now this is just a single row and it's 3 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch from the side seams. Now this is actually on the back, so when you're looking at a seam here, here's the pockets, it's going to be on the back section, really close to that seam line, and you do it down to where your pocket bag ends. So the pocket bag ends here, so I know that I will be doing the stitching there. Now the instructions say to bar tack. I don't bar tack it, I just back stitch it. So I'll do that and then show you what it looks like. So now that side top stitching is done, we are up to the waistband. So we've done the stay stitching around the waist, which is when you're using stretch denim, is really, really important. So make sure you do that stay stitching. You don't have to do that sewing down the side seam top stitching. In fact, you don't have to do a whole lot of the top stitching. As you can see, I actually tried to match the colour of this denim, but I couldn't match it. So I just went with something that was just a little bit lighter and I thought looked okay and not too overly obvious. Now here's our waistband that I've cut 2 of, and you can see that I cut them both longer, and we just cut those off when we need to. So the first thing you need to do with your waistband, sew the waistband and the waistband facing. So that's just 2 pieces of the same waistband in my case. Remember what I said, don't use a non-stretch cotton if you're using stretchy denim. Sew the waistband and facings right side together. So sew the 2 waistbands together along the upper curve seam. And it says that the waistband is cut longer than the opening in case you need a little extra. Well, I just add a little bit more extra. So when we're looking at the upper curve of the waistband, so here's our waistband here. So we're actually joining. Another way that they could have said that is, let's join the pieces, the sides that have no notches. So I've got notches, not that we're necessarily going to be using those notches. Your most important notch on your waistband is your center back, because that's where we're going to start from to put the waistband on. So right sides together, center back, starting at the center back. I will just pin this all the way along, and then it says to fold in the raw edge by 5/8 of an inch. To get a nice even fold, baste a 5/8 of an inch line from the raw edge, then press. So whichever waistband you're using as a facing, in case you're using a different fabric, they want you to sew a line along the one that you're choosing to be your facing. Sew a line of 5/8 of an inch so that when it comes to turning it over, it's really easy to turn over. That can be a really good idea. If you've ever got fabric that won't sit properly and you've got to tuck it under and all that sort of thing, running a stitch line can be really handy, so that when you go to fold the fabric over, it just folds over naturally at the stitch line. So I'm going to stitch this waistband together, and I'm actually going to do what they say and sew a 5/8 of an inch or 1.6 millimeter, sorry, 1.6 centimeter. 1.6 millimeter would be pretty small. line to follow on my facing. So now we've got the waistband pinned on, the waistband's joined, waistband and waistband facing, and mine are both of the same fabric and I'm not interfacing them. So it says to pin the waistband to the waist of the jeans, matching the notch. You can see how much extra I've got. So I've got a huge amount extra, but I really like to have an extra long waistband cut so that if for any reason you needed your waistband to be longer, you had the fabric there. Because can't remember what pants it was I made once, many years ago. I had to shift the waistband back around to here and then add a little piece on just where the back part of the fly was. So to avoid that from happening. And then once you've sewn that, they want you to flip your waistband up like this and up like this and do your zip up so you can see that it matches perfectly. So what you're looking for is for this fly and this part of your fly for the waistband to be exactly level. And if not, you just sew, 3 millimeters away until it matches up perfectly, because that's what's going to make your jeans look professional. Having all those things done to your jeans is what's going to make them look professional. So I'm going to sew this waistband on. I know what else they say to do at this time. They say to pop a piece of interfacing in here for your button and your buttonhole. But I won't do that yet because my waistband is still open, so it's still easy to access where I want my interfacing to be. So more important for me to get the waistband sewn on and matched up perfectly so that it's completely level. So I'll do that and then I'll be back. So when the pattern's talking about sew the waistband on, do the zipper up. So this is the zipper done up. Still got shaggy little bits of cotton left in it from when we had to split it open. And so make sure what it's really talking about is this going to match up? Threads everywhere. Is this going to match up perfectly? And we can see that it is. So once we know that, we can go, okay, we don't need to sew 2 millimeters on this edge to make it so that it matches properly, and that's what you do. So if it doesn't match, you think, is one slightly different than the other? You can, I have trimmed a little bit of this off now. You can always put them up against each other and draw a line with a marking tool to see, but that is going to be a really important thing about your jeans, besides getting all those little bits of thread out, is making sure your waistbands match up perfectly. So now you've got this in place and you know where it's going to be, time to try them on again. Okay, I've got the jeans on with the waistband, and I've only got the facing of the waistband tucked in to the back of the jeans, but I know that it's all going to fit. So now I can permanently sew this waistband on. Okay, so we can put interfacing in this now. So I have now ironed on my little pieces of interfacing now that I know where I need them to be. I have an interfacing scrap bin because I keep my interfacing in on rolls because I don't like it to get creases in it. So I have a scrap bin where I put smaller pieces that can't fit or go on the roller. So button side and buttonhole side, back and front, lining side and right side of the waistband. Just so that it's really, really secure, especially when it comes to that button. Now, when we come to do the button, which will be the very, very last thing, I have had things before where you hammer on a button, it's permanent. You've already sewn the buttonhole, it's permanent. And then your jeans really stretch a lot in the waistband when you wear them. So, last time I did a pair, I came up with this brilliant idea of I'm going to sew a button on in place of that metal jeans button and wear the jeans and see if I need for that metal button to be over further to make the waistband tighter. Because once your metal jean button's on, I think you probably can get it off, but it's likely going to make a mess of your pants, of your waistband. So I think hand stitching a button on that's a similar size or the same size as what your jeans button would be to start with is a really good way to see if that's exactly where your jean button needs to go, or if it needs to go a little bit further over to make them a little bit tighter. And only wearing is you are going to be able to tell that sort of thing. So that's where we're going to leave it for today. When we come back next time, we're going to be turning this waistband inside out, stitching across here, flipping it back and top stitching it down all the way around. We'll do that on both sides. And then we will be on to the belt loops, which I've already made. I think it told you to make that in the very beginning. Yeah, it must have, because it's just saying to use them now. Yeah, it's telling you just to make them. So that's all ready to go. And I'll talk to you at that time about how you make the belt loops and how easy they are to make. So that's all for me today. Please like and subscribe. Don't forget about Sew Autumn Denim 2024 with our fabulous prizes from the Daily Society. That's a June bespoke box, and a $50 voucher is also another prize. Don't forget about the Weft and Warp 24% discount on denim, which goes for the months of April and May. And that red denim you can see hanging on that clothes rack in the back is from Weft and Warp. And it's really beautiful denim. That's its second wash and it's been through the dryer. So should have shrunk down as small as it's going to shrink. Not that I would ever dry my jeans in the dryer. Never ever do I dry my jeans in the dryer. Sometimes we do go on holidays with other people that get a bit gung-ho with the washing. And I've even thought, where's my bra? It's in the dryer. And I thought, I don't dry anything of mine in the dryer. Socks I might dry in the dryer. But that is beautiful, beautiful fabric. And I think I've pretty much got my heart set on making the ash jeans because it's got a very different fly construction and front crutch construction. Because you remember how we made up this crutch and then inserted the fly into it? Well, the ash jeans, when you put the fly in, this crutch part here is free. So it's not attached to it. So that center front crutch is not joined yet. So a very different way of doing it. It's also got the fly facing, which is you're thinking about, this is your facing, as a separate piece, not a fold over piece. So you get a nice ridge, which I like. Some people don't like that, and some people change their patterns, because you can just add it onto your pattern, you know, tape it on where the seam allowance would be. So a little bit back, if it's 1 centimetre seam allowance or whatever it is, overlap it and just add it on. It's an easy way to do it. I prefer that way than this way, because now I have to get out all those little bits of thread that are stuck in there that could also get stuck in my fly. So really important that I get those out. I've got some tweezers, I'll get those out. But until next time, please like and subscribe. Please ask me any questions that you want to know about the ginger jeans. And so next time when we come back, I will have already turned this waistband over, ready to top stitch down. I won't top stitch it down yet, but I'll have turned it over and sewn these parts. It's just like sewing any other waistband. If you were sewing a waistband onto the back of a skirt, you might sew it like that. Really similar method, easy to finish off the waistband. So once I've done that waistband, flipped it out the right way, then I'll come back with the next part, and we will be doing the top stitching of the waistband and the buttonhole, the belt loops, and then the hem. And I can already tell I've got to take this much off the bottom. So they're pretty long, but I'll try them on with a few different pairs of shoes to see what I'm going to wear them with, because I actually really love the colour. It's great. So I will talk to you all next time. Hope everyone's getting along with their ginger jeans. And next time we should be able to finish them. Have a good sewing week. Bye.